Hello friends, welcome back to Learn With Me Calligraphy. I'm your host, Christopher, and today we are going to run a gauntlet of an episode. We're going to be doing all of the uppercase letters at once. I don't know if anyone will watch something this long or if we're going to have to edit it down, but I personally would like to move on to different styles and new forms. So, I've got the ink changed out in my pen, and I'm ready to roll. So, let's see how this sucker goes. When I was looking at this task today, I thought to myself, man, this is going to be slow. I don't know about you, but like practice in real time seems to be something that just looks and takes forever. I was thinking, is this going to be a great idea on stream or on a video? Like, usually it's just not a fun task to watch unless you throw together kind of like, a Rocky montage. Just do it in a minute. Throw all that practicing and training together to get on to the next thing and put a lot of music to the front of it. It'll look great. But that really isn't how it works in the real world. So I wish you could. Like, I really wish you could just go, oh yeah, I'm going to do this all in 1 minute. And I'm immediately an expert in whatever I'm doing. At the same time, though, that kind of robs you of the joy of discovery. Like playing around with my typewriter on Tech Tuesday, for example. You have, of course, had that initial fright of, what am I doing? What am I doing? But then as soon as I learned, oh, that's how that's supposed to work, then it was like, oh, light bulb moment. This is awesome. That's kind of what I almost live for here on this channel, because I just love learning things. Okay, so I don't know if you've been noticing here, but we're doing this in 3 strokes for this A. So we're starting at the top, and I'm personally not, I'm doing a thin line going down, which again is against our better judgment. I'll finish this one out and see if I can do it the other way. I'm just doing it that way because it's easier for me with the curly to create the curly Q I want to do. And then flowing that line through to finish out our capital A. Let's try it from the bottom here though. Because like I want to push more out and then finish it off. Actually, it doesn't look half bad. I kind of like that I create a more italicized A. I'll do it one more time. Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to like that actually. So notice too, if you break the rules, that it does create a different look to your A just based upon how you form it with the way that you write. We'll move on to our B here. We go down. I'm kind of curious how many. I think we're gonna do this in 3 or 2. We'll do 2 here. Maybe I'll try it in 1. Go up. Okay, that's kind of closer to what we're doing here on 1. Yeah, let's try this again one more time here. 1 stroke. I think I'm going to try multiple on the next one. Let's see. But yeah, anyway, I was thinking, oh man, this is probably going to be boring to watch. So I'm hoping to run this almost like a live stream, even though obviously it's going to be recorded, and just randomly pull different topics and just continue to ramble, essentially. Hopefully you find it entertaining, as much as I find practicing entertaining. Because it is fun to actually do something. But I get it if, actually watching it just kind of seems, this is boring. Um, I think I do like it in one motion. We'll do that one more time for the B here. Go down. Oh, I'll pull back here so you can actually see what I'm doing. Pulling down, up, swinging back around. Yeah, I think I need to work on the thickness, but I'm starting to like that. We'll move on to our C here. Come on, grab it. There you go. Which I'm glad, because I've never particularly liked my C's, so if I have a new way of doing one, this will be awesome. Need to make the curly Q a little bit bigger. And that's the problem. I usually get it to where I'm going out, and then I immediately just go straight down. And it's just cutting off that overall flow that I like for the look of it. So let's go wide. Because again, too down. We need to make it more like an O here. So let's go like... That's a bit better. I like more of that fuller C. Okay. One more time here. And I like that. Almost reminds me of like a parchment, like a rolled scroll or something. I like that particular look more than I do this particular look. But we'll see if we can mimic the look of the book here a little bit better. Okay, so down. Yeah, okay. Oof. Hold on a second. Making sure that it's not grabbing. Okay, there's nothing stuck. Perfect. But yeah, when I was starting this today, I'm like, I was looking at that word uppercase and I was thinking to myself, where did that even come from? Because it's like, how did we get uppercase and lowercase to begin with? And I was doing a little bit of research online just before starting this episode, and I found an article from McGill. Yeah, McGill University, written by Ada McVean. Hopefully I didn't butcher either name. And it gave us kind of like an answer. It was relatively concise, but it gave us an answer. And so the old style manual type printing presses, where you'd have to physically insert each little letter, when those were still around, all those little individual letters got set into a case. And these cases were generally separated by like the most common and least common. So, for example, say you had to go and physically move all your letters out, and you're trying to put them all out and have them readily available. Most of the time, when you're grabbing for particular letters, you're usually using a lot of lowercase letters. And I would imagine part of that was simply because, hey, these are smaller letters, so I can get more of them onto a line. Or I can use more of them here in a smaller case to be able to finish out this line. So then this word stays on this line, and then I can go to the next line and use these uppercases and these lowercases. Like, I could imagine it being a lot more of a strategy than, oh, we need to have a proper capital. You know what I mean? So anyway, they would take the ones that are the small, usually it was the small letters that were used more often, and those would get stored in the lowercase because that's easier to reach, versus like the larger cases and the capitals. Those generally were stored in the uppercase. I thought, okay, that's kind of cool. Technically, as I kept looking into it, there's more than that. Like, you can really dive into the history of type and all that and go down a massive rabbit hole when you look into this. But like some presses actually separated the large letters and the small letters specifically instead of based on a like use case. Pardon the pun. They didn't separate it based upon how common, it was just separated based on these capital letters versus like the smaller or lowercase letters. Ooh, I'm actually really liking that E. I like the look of that. Let's try that one more time here. I need to go upwards more than out, but we'll get there. Now I feel like I'm writing a big fat Elvis. It looks like a curly Q haircut or something. It's a little bit better, a little more concise than I need it to be, but let's go like this. Yeah, that's getting better. But anyway, they all seem to agree that the lowercase always had small letters simply because of frequent use, essentially. So I thought, okay, that answers the question for me. I mean, it brought up way more questions than I got answered necessarily. Because, like, again, you can go down a massive rabbit hole on this stuff. Like, certain or not like spoken languages, but your written languages, like our Latin, for example, what our stuff is based on. Ours has our capitals and lowercase letters, whereas other languages, I think it was Indian or Hindi was what was referenced in the article I was reading. They actually don't have like a separation of lowercase and uppercase, which I thought, that's kind of different, but okay. But yeah, that rabbit hole also took me down the road of, okay, they use these for so long and so often, and now it's like not necessarily used anymore. I mean, maybe there still are some manual type print presses out there, which would be awesome. I would love, like, for a day, just to be able to do that. Oof, that is, oh, that's horrible. Let's try this again. Go uninterrupted here. Okay, we need to focus on this F. Something is going wrong. Let's do shorter. And then up. That's a little better. Man, I need to trace this guy out. Let's see here. Let's try more straight down. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna go straight down and up. Okay, the F is gonna need some work, most assuredly. I think my issue is I'm not bringing this out enough, and so it's kind of creating like just a smashing together of ink. And it's just not looking great, so we'll have to mess with that. But we're gonna go down here to our G and our H next. And yeah, I started looking into that stuff, and okay, is there still any of this stuff around? Like, can you actually get a case of just like all these individual little typefaces? And you can. I mean, I didn't research very far into it, but for example, I looked on eBay, and it ranged from like 60, 70 bucks to like $300 for one case and one typeface, essentially. I thought, wow, like for a collector, I would imagine, that's not too bad. Just to have something to be like, oh, this is so cool. and bring out and show people. But like, could you imagine having to, do that as a business? And you have to go out and buy, like, okay, imagine one case is your lowercase, and that's just for one font. So you have two cases for one font. Could you imagine if you needed like 6 to 7 fonts? I know it's, you know, no longer in use and more for collector's item. So probably the price is inflated, but holy cow, that could get really expensive really fast. And we're just talking about type. We're not even talking about paper. We're not talking about printing press. We're not talking about any of that stuff. Like, that sucker could be so expensive. And I've literally just drawn my cursive G instead of a calligraphy G. So let's try that one more time here. I'm gonna wrap around, go straight, and then I'm gonna bring it straight down and over. Yeah, there we go. Then we'll be back on our H here. Let's straighten that out a little bit. And this looks like a combination of L's. Just gonna bring it down, up and over, and down and up. Okay, the H, like the form of it, is a little bit tricky, but just to run it through, it is such an easy one to work with. It just kind of flows off your pen. It's pretty nice. Let's try it without. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Okay, we'll do this here. We'll wrap it around. Cool, cool, cool. Oh yeah, while we have this time, I figure might as well update you on the other stuff on this channel as well as my, semi-new channel. Because I don't think I've really talked about either in depth and what I, intend to do with them and what I'm trying to accomplish here. So, for example, let's talk Tech Tuesday because that ended up getting skipped today. Or not today. Where am I? Yesterday. And look at that. One page down. Let's go. Bingo. And there we go. On to our eye. But yeah, I ended up skipping Tech Tuesday because I'm essentially waiting for stuff to come in. Let's bring this down. So I was like, I could essentially kind of start and talk about it, but I wouldn't have much to actually film. So I'm like, better wait a week, then we'll film it. It won't have, everything here and available, but it'll at least have enough to talk about and visually explain and see, so it'll look decent enough. And so I was like, okay, fine, I won't do it, and we'll just move on and go from there. And you're probably wondering, okay, after all that, what is it? Like, what's the project? And so, I don't want to spoil too much, because it'll be more interesting to actually watch than really talk about. But essentially, for Christmas, I'm going to be building a buddy of mine a PC. And he really hasn't had one, and we all, he and my friends have PCs, and we've been talking about gaming, and he's just kind of had it on the fence for years, and now that a lot of stuff that he's wanted to play has come out, he's like, okay, it's kind of time to do it. So I essentially goaded him and was like, all right, I'll do this part of it for you, and because I have an idea and I don't want to explain like the theme of the build yet. I'd rather explain that in the video. But I'm like, dude, here's the theme because you like this, and we'll just build based on that, and we'll kind of like reveal it at the end. And we'll go, okay, here's a basic PC, but here's what it's going to look like when it's all done. So I'm really excited for when we get into it, because I'm thinking, oh man, this thing, oof, that is too skinny. Let's try that one more time. Up and down, and for our J here, we're just doing one motion. We could try, let's try two. I flared it up to give it something that you could hang off of with the chisel tip, and then brought it through. And it gives it, I don't know what I want to say. If it's like, it gives it a foreign script look. I don't know which script I'm thinking of, but it gives it a specific look, and I think I like it much better than this. Let's try it one more time. Oof. No. Bad. Let's try this one more time. And then... okay. You gotta hook it right. And then you can pull it off. Okay. Let's try in and out. Of course I nail it the first time and make it an absolute mess the second time. We'll do it one more time here. Try it once more. Once more into the breach. We'll do it single instead of. Okay. This will need some work. Clearly. I can't do it without my little outline here, but we'll get there. But yeah, I'm really excited to jump into it and go, ooh, we get to play around with learning new things. Because it's not like PCs are necessarily something that I haven't had experience with, but I've had limited experience. So it's like I want to learn more and play around with different apps and programs and see like, okay, what did I miss the first time essentially? So I think it'll be really fun to mess with. And hopefully you guys think so too. Okay, we're gonna do this in 3 strokes. So we did our 1. Oh, come on. Grab. Yep. 2, and then 3. We tried in 1. I don't know. 1 just creates so much ink in the middle there. Yeah, let's do it in 3. So we're gonna go up and down, and then grab it, go in, and then we're gonna go and push. So clearly when I push down, I did not push hard enough to create a thick enough line to match our K's little squiggle coming out here. So let's see if we can push it a little bit more. Give us a thicker line. Gonna come down, just a quick squiggle that's just up, and then quick pull back. And then we're gonna push out. And depending upon what you want to do here, I think will depend upon how your K looks. Like if you want to start up a little bit higher and then bring it in, or pull down on our back here to be able to give us more room. Because like we haven't left very much room here. That'll depend upon how the bottom of the K looks, or whether you're like trying to match it to a line. Let's go back here to this more, or this, where you have a little bit more room or separation here. So again, we're going to do 3 strokes here. Okay, and then up and down and push. So a little bit more It's a little bit more controlled. That end there, I don't know. I personally like it the way it is here, almost like a heel of a boot or something like that. Because we could try and pull it down more. I don't know, I kind of like both. We'll try again here. Pull it down. And for some reason, I really just like to have that thin. It just feels nice in my hands. But again, remember that you're trying to make the whole thing cohesive. Like, it can look great as a single line, but altogether as a composition, it might not look great. Like this, it's just little tiny blades of grass that are just flicked around. It doesn't really look like a K. But if we switch it up here, we pull this down, pull that in, and push that out, that starts to look a little bit better. Obviously, my squiggle here with that curly Q could have gone out a little bit more and flushed this together a bit better, but it's a little bit more controlled. Not by much, I would say this here. I think I like this. I think this one is probably my favorite. And then we'll move on to the L. Oh yeah, I was saying new channel. If you don't know, I have a newish channel. It's called CJP Plays. I would say technically still a working title kind of a thing, because like, for one, almost everyone has that, kind of like CJP Productions, so it's kind of hard to find that channel. So I'm still playing around with that. But it's mostly focused on video games, because I was looking at this channel going, I want a day that's just play, essentially. Like, yes, it still is work when you play a video game. You don't just sit down and go, haha, okay, I've played for, half an hour to 2 hours, and I'm done. You still have to edit it. It's not like it's just done and there you go. Because personally, I don't like to have a long form or like a big fat oneer when it comes to video games, or at least for the particular style I'm going for. But like, I still wanted something that was, oh, okay, I just sit down and I play. I go for it. And I'm not too concerned about the camera and any of that messing up. And I can just go, let's see, hold on. Okay, that was kind of the concern, because I was starting to get smaller loop, so trying to get a bigger loop here. Obviously, it still needs to be bigger. I was just slowly getting smaller and smaller as I went along. We need to keep it a whole lot larger, but that is something to note for the future here. And then it looks like the M and the N are pretty much the same as the lowercase. So that's going to make it easy, just more practice, essentially. Actually, same as the O and the P. It's pretty much the same exact ones. And that's partly why I kind of wanted to just run through this. Because it's like, I don't know, maybe they will be the same, and we're not really going to be learning, like, as new stuff. Because if you guys are practicing, I don't want to just, like, run you through the same exact things. Like, you can watch the one and go, oh, okay, I get it. I just need to practice this and work from this particular technique and go from there. But yeah, so yeah, I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit more fun, laid back, and that I could just go, I can do this in a day, no big deal. But still kind of feels like cheating, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, okay, I can go play, yay! So we'll see how it works. If you're interested, I'll leave a link below, also with the articles that I was kind of looking at and going through, just to see what you think of them. And we need to do something here. We need to, I've never tried doing an M with like a ton of different strokes. Maybe we'll do that. See what we can get here. So an M, up, M, up, M. I keep saying M. I just mean our stroke here. Stroke. Not bad. I think I needed to work on this. It needed to go instead of left, right. But I kind of like that. To where it's multiple strokes. We'll try it with the N here as well. Just go down and up and down to where it's 3 strokes. So like there. Because it works a whole lot better, especially with working with a chisel tip pen. I think it works 10 times better to be able to just down, pick up, pick up, down, pick up. So we're going to press down, and then we're going to go up, and then we're going to press down again. I kind of created a chisel tip to it. Let's try and round it off when we go. So we're going to push down and up, down. Because I think we can just almost snake this, making like a backwards. Wait, hold on. Yeah, making a backwards S essentially. Down, up. Kinda, something like that. We'll do one more and then we'll move on to the O, because it's pretty much the same as our lowercase here. Come on, pull. Up, and pull. Yeah, and then go into our O here. Again, pretty much the same. So I think we're just going to run through these. And then do my version of the O. Yeah. Yeah, the one nice thing about this right here is like you'll start to see more of your practice shine through, which is awesome. I know it is repetition on these particular ones, but it'll be like, hey, look at that. In just like one episode, one, two, I'm trying to remember when we did O's and P's. It isn't too bad to be able to just go like, oh yeah, it changed. It works really well. Okay. What you got going here? Let's see. Make sure it isn't grabbing. And then go down. There we go. Yeah, much better. And again, I personally like, just because I've come from cursive and that's what I know so much, I like to have the extra strokes on it. I like to have those extra flourishes that to me really help bring out the letter. If we want to stick back to this design here though, it isn't too hard to stay in it. Okay, I see what I did. It literally just stops. That's it. Again, make sure you pay attention or go a little bit slower than I've been going to make sure that you give it more of that tail that we've got going here. But yeah, I like to just create it to where it looks more, oh, what is the term? The particular style of Art Nouveau, I love that flowing, flourishing look. And so trying to create more of that is what I prefer. Go. Yeah, I hit it on the wrong side, but essentially that's what we're looking for. Or that's what I'm looking for, at least. But yeah, look at that, another page done. We're getting through this sucker. Okay, and then Q. Ooh, all right. I like that. That looks a little bit nicer too than the Q for a lowercase. I'm guessing we're pulling. Yep. Oh, and that's the wrong way. So we're grabbing from here. Interesting. And then how does she pushes it out? Okay. Yeah. All right. I kind of like that. We'll take it. Oh. It's just such bad habit. I really like to come in from the inside. Yeah, I think I like the thicker instead of thinner. We'll give it another try here. Go back and see if we can retrain ourselves. When I can do it right, maybe. That just seems a little big. Let's try that, and that's better. Okay, that's much better. We'll do that again. Hopefully, we'll do that again. Yes, that's more the look I'm looking for. I think this overall as a composition is much better though. Just the way the negative space is, especially here with the line in comparison to our swirl here, much better. And again, like, you can follow this, which is good. You need this for practice, but also really pay attention to the composition and what you're creating. Like in here, this little separation of these two lines, that to me, that composition looks really pleasing. And it's like the white space in between here and here is different, but it's still like decent enough to be acceptable. Whereas you get to this guy here, and the white space is all over the place. It is a jumbled mess regardless of how well or how bad the line is. Like, the white space is just way too much up here. And then by comparison, where that lip is, just way too little. So even if you get your stroke proper, let's go on to the R here. So yeah, even if you follow through with your stroke, did it work? Like, does it work? And obviously I went the wrong way because this line is too thin, clearly. And up here, just did not grab enough when I first did it. So let's focus here, and instead we're going to do this, instead of in one stroke, we're going to do it in two. Again, with your parallel pen, or with any pen, making sure that you just force that. You're going light, and then we're going heavy to bring it around. Try it again. I'm going to bend my tip a little bit. Okay. Then light and heavy. I think we'll flow it out more. I think I like it flowing more. But yeah, that's a little bit better overall composition wise. It's still like in here, especially our swirl and our downward, it's still too heavy. So let's try bring it down. Then light, so we're gonna go quick. Bit better, need more contact. And maybe you don't need to do this constantly. Like, I personally feel like sometimes I need to review it simply because it's like, okay, what can I learn from here that I can apply to the next letter? Or maybe it's just, oh, I need to just keep doing it. I don't care what happened beforehand. We're just going to keep going. And then we'll come back and go, oh, I like that one. And then we'll try and copy that. Whatever way works best for you, go for it. Because I just have my particular way. That doesn't mean that it is the right way or the best way. Clearly. We're going to need to slow down here and go one more time. Go down. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to need to learn how to turn the pen a little bit to create that as thicker for that R. But otherwise, yeah, we're going to need to practice because the best one here was clearly using our silhouette. Now let's move on to that S. Come on. And ooh, that S needs work. Let's try this again. Yep, we're gonna need a thicker body here, so thin. Man, I was trying to think of another topic as I'm writing here, and it's like, oh, I usually script all this because I'm horrible at just thinking of something off the fly. Okay, we need to make this larger because this is starting to look more like an L. So we're going to go down, straight down, and fling it out. That's a bit better. And I'm trying to avoid politics because that just happened. And that's why it's on the top of my tongue. But at the same time, I know people don't really like to talk about it. And I personally would rather like to focus on stuff like this than who's right, who's wrong, all that stuff today. Let's see. Move on to the T if it'll grab. Aha! And then, oop. Pull down and pull up. Real simple two-stroke. What else can we talk about? We can talk about that line. Holy cow. Why won't you make a full line? I found the hats for T's are real easy and really a great way if you're someone who likes to create interest or a difference in your lettering. Like you're trying to make a personalized letter to someone and you want to make it just a little bit different. Changing the hats on your, what I call hats, the hats are the tops on your T's and I's, that can really make it stand out and feel way more personal. Like, let's get flowery with this particular one. We'll just swing for the fences here. And then grab it. And see how much of a difference we can create or how much character we can create by doing that. Or physically making a little hat for our T. I don't know. Maybe it works for you. I think it's kind of funny. I don't know that it necessarily what I would use it for, but it's so much fun to be able to mess with it. And personally, I think I like separating them, unless like I do for more of this type. I do like connecting them, but also I really like having it separated. We'll do it together for the last one. But yeah, I think I really like separating it for that particular look. Then we'll go to our U, V, W, and X. And it looks pretty similar. I don't think there's too much variation here. I think the one thing that is different is like, if you think about it, when we were doing the lowercase, we're not going to be making them as big as we were when we were practicing. So it's like, okay, this is more realistic for your uppercase than what we were doing for our lowercase. But yeah, it's essentially the same thing. But I personally like to do it in two. We'll do it in one here for this particular U. That's part of the reason why I think it generally tends to end up looking more like an N when I try and do it more like the single that we've got going here. So let's try, we'll do this one more time. It's a little bit better. It's more cursive, like an lowercase u in cursive to me personally. But if we do it as 2, needs a bit of work, but I essentially think 2 is better using 2 strokes versus 1. Go to our V here, and this looks a little different, I think. Go up, because I don't remember it having that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm losing my marbles. Let's try that as 3. We'll go there, there, and then there. It almost affords going quicker on the V, so full. Again, you risk it being really thin, but I feel like compositionally, or composition-wise, not half bad. Let's try it slower here. It's okay. I think I need to be more flourish here. I ran out of room, so that is too tight in my opinion. Coming back to this makes more sense. Okay, we'll head on to our W. But actually, while I've seemingly run out of topics, I guess I'll put it to you guys, the audience. What do you think so far? What's your favorite letter or favorite word to do in calligraphy? What's something that actually inspires you when you start writing out calligraphy and going, oh yeah, this is the reason why I love doing this particular letter or word? And why it's like such an amazing thing for you. Because I am interested. I do want to hear from you guys and see, like, one, if I'm doing anything that actually helps you, or if this is just not working out at all. And 2, like, hey, what's your progress? Where are you at? Because it would be fun to see and talk about that kind of stuff. Okay, and our X here. Simple again. Probably gonna stick to the same technique here. We're just gonna go light, then really heavy, then light. And for our crossbar, simply because of the way a chisel tip works and the way you're gonna want to do it, usually you're gonna want to come back because it makes it, in my opinion, too thin. Like it's just, this thing won't do it here. Just becomes too thin versus the thickness of our X. So it's like I generally go back and forth. I'll finish this one and then we'll move on to the next one. And I think what we'll do here is we'll do our first crossbar, and then for the second we'll try and maneuver it. I'm thinking here maybe. Yeah, you can kind of yeah, you can kind of maneuver it to make it thicker. My particular issue with it is how to make it. Okay, if you're gonna make it thicker, I missed where I needed to hit, but essentially if you're gonna make it thicker, how do you make it to where it like matches? You know what I mean? Let's try this again. Go. Maybe if we curl. Now it looks like it's two like C's pushed together or something. We can try it again. But you see what I mean? It's like the thinness to me kind of stands out. It does help it in some instances, like here. I think it does help it to make it look more like an X than it does here. But I think ultimately, for me personally, I think I just like to do on that, just that thin side, just cross, just so I can get it accurate, and then if I need to, come back in and redraw it in. Again, you do risk it to where one side is thicker than the other, and depending on the paper, possible bleeding. But I mean, I personally, coming back here, I think it just works. Granted, I was adding more here, but I think I personally prefer it more. Especially when you do it the first time, because it feels like this is so thin. So, I don't know, it's up to you, but that's the reason why I go over my X's the way I do. And then finally, our Y and our Z, which, based on last episode, the Y doesn't look too much different, but the Z definitely does, so I am curious on that one. Let's go through here, and we're gonna go, let's see, up, and down, and up, and down. Okay, as one solid stroke, it's not bad. I think that works really well. Yeah, I think that works really well. We can try it in 2 here, maybe. Go like this, and then in 2, I think you risk it being a little bit thin in here, in that area. I don't hate it. I don't think it's horrible. It does actually kind of feel awkward. Let's try it again. And it does, like, you do risk not connecting them. But, like, if you want to do it in 2, or if you're trying to do it more like in M or an N, where sometimes it feels like it's better to go with multiple strokes than one stroke, maybe we'll do that way. It's ultimately up to you. I think in one though works the best, and overall compositionally I personally like making these loops. It's just enjoyable to me. Compositional wise, I personally like the look a little bit better than more of this straight and then cutting out that we have here. Um, we'll try it. Let's see. We'll try and get it as accurate to the original as possible. So we're going up and then we're going straight down. And then cutting up here and kind of swerving out. Like I'm over exaggerating clearly, but I think I personally run the risk here of doing that when I try and copy it closer to this than when I do this. So learning your strengths and your weaknesses when you're practicing is awesome. Like sometimes it can just feel like your head's against the wall and you're just pounding it together and going, this is not working. But once you figure out, okay, here's my wall, and identifying that problem, that's half the battle. And then you can work from there, especially in calligraphy, because it's so simple. It's just, okay, am I doing a stroke up? So I'm going light. Am I going down? That's heavy. Okay. How do I change it to where I want it to look the way I want it to look? And just using those simple rules to figure it out. And it's just one of the things I truly enjoy about doing this. It doesn't take much. And you can go from, oh, this did not look good, to, oh, I get it. Now I know what to do. I hope that, I don't know, I hope that explanation kind of helps. I feel like I'm not being as specific as I need to be, but like that, that needs work. Let's adjust for that one. So up top, I kind of like it being thick and then thin on the bottom. So I'm just kind of more flat facing this and just pushing it. And then here, we're going to go angled. With the Z, it feels like you need to do like multiple. We're doing this in 4 easily. Come on, grab. And then, yeah, just like the hats on our T's, our Z's are the same way. We can just change that middle to be whatever we want it to be. And it'll really personalize the look. So, okay, so we'll try our Z here again. Again, I really like a flowery look. I think making it more like beads on the end will look a little better. Let's try that. So we're going to go here. A little bit longer. Then we're going to go here. And then maybe we'll have to play with it more. Because yeah, with that is one of my things. Because of doing the X the way I do it, I'm always going for this thin line, and it just does not really help my Z very much. It kind of helps going from the thicker that I like down to the thinner, but I always feel like I need to go over it again. And I don't know if you notice, it's kind of hard. Oh, not too hard. You can see here that it was starting to grab some of the paper here, so again, we'll clear out our pen here. There we go. Then we'll try finishing off the Z. Ugh, horrible crossbar, but I liked the overall beginning of it. I think we'll do it one more time. We'll just go down here. I'm gonna fill it in. This is the one thing I do love about calligraphy too. It's not an exact science. If you messed up, just go right back over it. Yep, I need to work on the crossbar because I was liking the earlier ones better. I think this is particularly my favorite, so hopefully I can get back to there. Maybe we'll start with that. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Something like that. Something. It's not quite perfect. Ooh, that might actually look cool. Let's try that. Sorry, I know this is very long, but I just want to keep trying. That's interesting. Maybe we'll play around with something like that later. But yeah, that's pretty much our uppercases. And then down here, if you are following along, I think we went from like page 28 to 34 in the book. But yeah, she says down here, you might have noticed some uppercase letters have multiple ways to be written, such as A, G, and Z. The letters A and G, for example, are often written in either the following ways, and then shows them. Either way, it is great, and can add a different look to your lettering. So yeah, just like we've been discussing this whole time, they don't have to look the way they do in the book. This is about learning how to do calligraphy and like retraining your brain to do calligraphy versus regular lettering or cursive. So if you see something that's different, it's like, yeah, it can be different, and that's awesome. We can change this to be something else and fit our style. So if you do see something different, don't immediately go, oh, that's wrong. That's just not right. Because it may have just been a creative choice by the author. Now we can debate on whether a different letter is compositionally correct or looks the best for what we were creating. But yeah, we have all these different ways of doing it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining. And next week, I think we're still sticking to the same schedule. The video is probably going to be shorter. Like, I already noticed we've gone over an hour, so I want to keep it a little bit brief next time. But this has been fun, and thanks for joining me. So I hope to see you again next week, and cheers. God bless.